Come on, man. You're expecting this guy to be like rational and like go, oh, I'm thinking about my retirement. I'm gonna save and invest my money. He doesn't care. He's just trying to get. He's just trying to have all the girls. He's just trying to get. You know, what's that ludicrous? Different. Guys, we saw a show on Netflix called The Tinder Swindler, and boy, there are some very interesting money and life lessons that we can take away from that particular show. Have you seen it? Let us know in the comments if you've seen it. We watched it a few days ago and thought, you know what, let's make a video about it and share some key things that I think you guys might be able to take away from that particular show. So for those of you who have not watched the documentary before, without us going into too much detail, it's basically a documentary about a man who uses other women's money to fund his luxurious lifestyle. And so he does this by swindling the women. So we're just going to talk about the points that stuck out to us and share it with you guys. Yeah, and just to add, Netflix estimated that this guy had conned around $10 million. That's what this guy had actually stolen from people, from women predominantly. And this particular show walks us through the journey of 3 women. Okay, so one of them lost $140,000, one lost $250,000, and one lost in the region of $40,000. And of course, attached to that is obviously their emotional lives being ruined, you know, like the confidence being bruised, and everything else that comes with, you know, being lied to effectively in a relationship. Absolutely. One of them even wanting to commit suicide because of it. Guys, if you're loving the vibes from this particular video, hit the like button right now and give us a response so that we know that you like the sort of videos that we are creating here on our channel. All right, let's talk about these 5 points. All right. Okay, so the first point we wanted to touch upon was the dangers of wanting the full package. There's a lady in the show called Cecile who basically at the very start had talked about, you know, her childhood and like watching the Beauty and the Beast and, you know, how like, you know, essentially what we learned from seeing that beginning part of the movie was that, you know, she had this concept of being saved by a guy essentially, or saving a guy. And this had been kind of wired into her effectively. And where she then started using Tinder, flicking, you know, in her subconscious, what she's actually looking for is the kind of guy who would save her effectively financially. Yeah. And she sees this guy who's a rich guy. Or somebody she may need to save at some point in order for him to then save her. Like the Beauty and the Beast story. And so she finds this guy, she's the perfect victim for him. First thing she sees, he's got, you know, he's... Oh, yes. They're both victims. Exactly. First thing she sees is he's on a yacht. She checks his Instagram. He's got thousands, almost more than 100,000 followers, I think. Life's good. This guy's traveling, lots of business travel, business class, private jet, that sort of stuff. And she loves it. Yeah, he ticked all those boxes, right? Her boxes, anyway. Are we guilty though of wanting the full package? Is this something that, because I actually think everyone at some point is guilty, because I can point to myself for sure, like at some point, you know, during my dating, you know, stages before we met, there were certain things I wanted on my list. I was like, yeah, man, I want all these things. Yeah. But what I learned from that was that, like, I just kept getting the wrong end of the bargain until I said, you know what, I'm actually not going to have this concept of wanting this full package. Yeah. You know? I mean, that wasn't really me if I think about it. I definitely had certain standards, but then you might argue that the older someone gets, there's more of a reason as to why they might want the full package, because these women on the show were quite mature. They were like probably in their, late 30s. So you'd assume that somebody that they would date would already be like well established, but she wanted the glitz and the glamour. She wanted more. She wanted more. It wasn't just her though. It was all 3 women. All 3 women. Were looking for a guy who was spontaneous, who just like wake up and suddenly go, hey, let's fly and go to this other city. Let's go to Prague, or let's go to here. Get in my private jet. Let's go and make it happen. Let's go and have some fun. And I think there's a danger in that, you know, because it's almost as though what they were looking for was an escape from their boring lives. Yeah, they wanted a luxury lifestyle, basically. That's what it seems like. It would be interesting to know from you guys, like, have you been guilty of wanting that full package? And do you disagree that there's a danger in wanting a full package? It will actually be really, really interesting to know. So, for example, are you, if you're a woman watching right now, are you looking for a particular kind of guy, i.e. a particular kind of net worth? Right? That'd be interesting to know. Yeah.
And will it cloud your judgment? Will it make you avoid certain red flags because he potentially or she potentially has the full package, but yet there are certain things which make you question, but you're still so like amazed by what you see that you fail to see the red flags?
Yeah, because in the show,
there were many red flags.
The lady, actually, she could see that she was really forcing herself to believe this fairy tale. She knew she was being conned, but she still carried on trying to believe that, you know what, this full package I've got, it's got to be real, when in actual fact it wasn't. Don't wait for the rich guy.
Yeah.
You know, slightly controversial, but I actually think the platforms of today, whether it's Tinder or whether it's Instagram, and, you know, I'm sure there are many other platforms, actually encourage that thing where you're actually looking out for that guy who ticks all the boxes, or that girl even, who ticks all the boxes, when in actual fact, what we see out there online is not really the reality most of the time. It's
not the reality, no. So maybe instead of trying to focus so much on finding that person with the full package, why not look for somebody who has that potential and ambition for to get to the point where you guys can grow together and reach your desired kind of level of luxury life that you want for yourself.
I saw a clip online, a woman, and I can't remember who it was now, but she's saying how like potential is rubbish. Like, she doesn't want to wait. She wants the CEO right now. She wants the guy with the 6 figures or 7 figures right now, rather than waiting for some guy who's going like, oh, look, I've got potential. I might get there one day. Might doesn't cut it for her. She actually wants it right now. So it'd be interesting to know, actually, is there anyone watching who sits on that side of the camp? Because I actually think it's good to wait for potential. I actually think it's a good idea to grow with somebody and kind of see them become successful. It'd be interesting to know, do you believe in getting the finished product? You know, that instant gratification, that finished product. Is that what you're looking for? It'd be really interesting to hear from you guys in the comments.
Absolutely. Point number 2 is to maybe consider not borrowing money for somebody that you are dating, especially somebody that you've just recently met. Do
you know what? I'm not even going to say maybe. I'm going to say a blanket full stop. Do not borrow money for someone you're dating. I'm going to go that far. Because, come on, let's be real, right? Particularly, you know, as we saw with this show, all the women kept falling for this one thing. Do you want to just talk about, because it felt like a real Hollywood storyline. Should we just talk about the storyline?
So this guy is a master con artist. He knows the psychology of women, and he's really been able to play into all of their emotions. Like he's a pro at it. It just reminded us of it's called the Dan Harmon story structure. So Dan Harmon's story circle is based on 8 stages of a story. So this is all about storytelling, and this con artist, this swindler, he's like he's basically a master storyteller, and it sounds like he's followed these steps entirely, and the women fell into it nicely. So step 1, they're in their comfort zone. He reaches out to women online, swiping through Tinder, trying to find their match. Which leads us to stage 2, where they both have a need or desire. The women's needs and desires is that they want to be loved and they want to fall in love, and they also want that luxury lifestyle that you mentioned at the start.
He makes them promises, basically.
Yeah, he makes them promises. What are those promises? So we're going to go into more detail, but he says to the women things such as, I love you, I want you to have my babies, I want us to live together, and I want us to start a family. Like, these are the things that women want to hear. This is what I'm saying. He's playing into their emotions. So that's the stage 2, the need or desire. Now the stage 3 is where they enter an unfamiliar situation. So for these women, they're now placed into a situation where there's a problem. He injects a problem, Hollywood, which is that he's basically in trouble. He needs their help. Otherwise, you know, he's either going to die or something like that. And he's already sold them the dream, right? So they're hooked. They've tasted, like they've fallen in love. They've slept with each other. They've met up. And now they're in an unfamiliar situation where the women will do anything to get their prince, potential prince, out of this situation so they can live happily after.
But the thing worth mentioning was step 1 and 2, really, with the comfort zone and the need and desire is that the guy used that to build trust. That's really what was being done there, is a foundation of trust has been established. And so therefore he then introduces the unfamiliar situation, as you say, which is that, you know what, my life is in danger. I've shown you I'm a rich guy. I've got lots of money. You've seen my private jets. You've had my caviar. You've had everything I've got. But look what's happening to my life now. They've frozen all my credit cards and now I need a favour.
Exactly. And this is where we get to stage 4. These women now have to adapt. And how do they adapt? Well, they end up trying their best to help him out by any means necessary. So that's getting out loans, that's getting out Amex credit cards, that's getting payday, emergency loans, loans on top of loans on top of loans.
And this is where what I was saying earlier about this whole need for almost, it's not quite a savior complex. So it's kind of like that woman feels like she's been brought up. She feels the need to save this guy and she keeps saying, I need to help him, otherwise no one else can help him.
It carries on to say in stage 5, they get what they want. In stage 6, they pay a heavy price. In the case of the women, well, you know, they've lost all of their money. They realise that they've been swindled. Stage 7, they return to their comfort zone. So the women now are back to reality where they first started.
Reality hits proper.
Reality hits hard.
Tears, cries, you know, very sad, but it's the truth. You know, it's what happens, right?
However, they go back to their comfort zone as a changed person, which is stage 8. They become enlightened. However, it's a bit too late in that they've lost all their money. But now, having changed, they want to do everything that they can to basically bring this swindler down. So all the women get together and try to form a way, and they succeed in bringing him down, even if it's just for 5 months in jail. But they still are able to succeed in exposing him for the con artist that he is, and potentially putting other women off getting into the same trap that they fell into themselves.
But the point comes back to, don't borrow money for guys or girls that you're dating. Simple.
In hindsight, it's obvious you shouldn't do that in this situation, but for some people, they're so deep into their relationship. Like the third woman, she had been with him for 14 months. Now, we don't know when she got out the loan, how soon she did, but for the first woman, she gave him money. I think it was within like day 4, was it day 5 of meeting him? I can't remember, but it was very like, in terms of like the timeline, everything happened very quickly. Her judgment was definitely clouded, obviously, because she'd fallen in love. She'd been sold a lie, and now she was willing to do anything. So it's...
Yeah, but the point remains, like, not being funny. Don't get out a loan for someone you're dating. I don't care how bad the situation is. If you're not in a committed relationship with them, like, why would you repeatedly carry on getting out loans upon loans upon loans?
He obviously like put in the fear, you know, aspect. He injected the fear in that his life was in danger. You know, what would you do in that situation? It's so easy in hindsight to say, oh, don't do that. But if your potential future partner, your future father of your unborn children,
the dream guy
is in danger, like, you would want to do anything to help him.
All right, so the third point worth mentioning is that real wealth is unseen, not seen. Okay? And I think this is so important because these 3 women, of course, it's very sad what happened to them. You know, and this is real. Like, this is real. They're still paying back those debts. But the truth is that they got lured into this because of the glitz. Like, they wanted the guy to be so real. They wanted to live that life. They wanted that yacht, that private jet, that, you know, like I said, that caviar, that 4 Seasons hotel. They wanted that whole thing. And there's a lot to be said today about just the way we're all living. You know, you see a guy or you see whoever, a girl even, you know, driving a really nice car, and you feel like, you know what, yeah, man, they're doing really well. I want to hang out with them.
There's a perception that they're doing well. And it comes down to, you know, that popular saying, not all that glitters is gold. And, you know, these women said that they did their research. They Googled him and they checked him up on Instagram and his website. But Instagram is so fake. Social media is so fake. Tinder is just as fake as all the rest of the platforms, because people can put out whatever narrative they want to put out. Like, even we could put out the narrative that we want to, just because you might want to niche on a particular subject or area. Whatever narrative we want to, for example, we might say we like to holiday all the time, and our account could just be about all our holiday pictures.
We obviously don't do that.
We obviously don't do that, but I'm saying you could. So it's not everything that you see online that is real. And realise that if somebody is portraying this lifestyle, it can be questionable.
It should be questionable.
Well, it should, exactly. It should be questionable for sure.
And that's the thing, and that's the point to drum home, is that real wealth is unseen. It's really about your ability to essentially be in complete control of your own time and do what you want when you want with your own time, because you've actually been able to build up some money, you've been able to build up some, you know, some resources behind the scenes that isn't really about flashing, driving around the place, trying to show people that you supposedly are wealthy.
Point number 4 is that to get rich quick leads to get poor very quickly. Now, in the case for this Simon guy, right, we'd be talking a lot about the women. He had so much money coming in through him. However, he just spent it so lavishly. Didn't even think about investing any of the money, saving some of it, you know, put it into
you're not thinking about
it. It's just like
you're not thinking about. Come on, man. You're expecting this guy to be like rational and like go, oh, I'm thinking about my retirement. I'm going to save and invest my money. He doesn't care.
He was not
He's just trying to he's just trying to have all the girls. He's just trying to get, you know, what's that ludicrous?
Just don't.
Different.
just don't, please.
He's just trying to have fun, right? Come on, man.
he's got a lot of issues to himself. Like, there's something clearly wrong with him as a person, because, you know, there's that saying, I remember reading it in a book, someone said that if you distributed the wealth of the wealthiest people to everyone, within a short space of time, all of that money will end up back to the wealthiest people. Because they know how to handle the money, they know how to manage it, they know how to make the money grow and multiply.
I mean, this guy even went as far as in the show asking one of the girls to please play the lottery for him when he'd lost all the money. But this is, I mean, we're laughing, but it's like, this is a really, really important point in that, like, you know, first of all, you see this with lottery winners. You often see that money disappears into things that don't really yield further wealth. All right, so the final point I wanted to make is the glaring lack of communication when things go wrong, okay? One of the ladies who very sadly got conned, you know, we see her chatting with her friends on one of these WhatsApp groups or something. She's going, yeah, I just met this guy, we're dating, I'm getting on a private jet, watch out, I'm gonna be having fun. And all her friends are going, do you know this guy?
Yeah, like, oh my God, what if he kidnaps you?
What if you get abducted and all this stuff? And she goes, YOLO, you only live once, right? She's living it up. But soon as things start to fall apart and she's almost starting to figure out that she's being conned, she's knee-deep in debt, she does not communicate at all.
She doesn't.
You know? And this speaks to something that you might even be able to identify with. When people are in debt, there's this, I guess, almost fear of judgment that's attached to being in debt, which this lady very sadly had to get into debt because she was being conned. And as that debt gets worse and you know things start to build up, or someone starts to live their lives even more in debt, they're even less likely to tell somebody else that they need help.
The time you need help the most is when, you know, in this woman's situation, she didn't talk to her. Like, if she spoke to her friends or even like her mum or someone she trusted in and could confide in, like, they would tell her, like, this is not right. She knew it wasn't right, but she was too in love.
Effectively, please communicate. If you're struggling, if you feel like you're in a relationship where things are too good to be true, it probably is. You know, talk to other people about it.
Yeah, exactly. And if you're being pressured to do like some really crazy things, it's because, and you're not sure, it's because it really is crazy. It's not right. And you definitely should speak to somebody that you know that you can confide in without feeling judged.
Guys, thank you so much for watching today's video. We'd love to hear from you guys in the comments. What were your big takeaways from the Tinder Swindler? Jump in the comments and let us know.
Absolutely, guys. Don't forget to like, subscribe to this channel if you haven't done so already, and share this video with somebody who you think will find it useful. Thanks, guys, and as ever,
in all things,
be thankful and seek joy. Take care.
See you soon. Bye.